Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Hey Everybody podcast, episode 83. It's a Monday afternoon, and this day has gotten away from me. All good stuff, but, I had my regular, just day to day stuff I had to take care of. I had an important phone call, and the clock on my desk, I have a clock on my desk because I don't like, for whatever reason, looking at the computer to see what time it is. I have just like an alarm clock basically on my desk, and I forgot to adjust it for daylight saving time. And at one point today, I was like, "Man, I'm really crushing it today, time wise. It's pretty early still." And it was an hour later than I thought. Let's have some coffee. I'm feeling further frazzled. Hey-oh. That could be the name of my greatest hits record. Further frazzled, the near misses of Christopher Gold. I'm feeling further frazzled. Oh, but I can still say that out loud. Because I guess it's about the time where I'm going to have to shoot out of here and go pick my son up from school. But I wanted to get this done because I have a meeting tomorrow and that kind of thing. The meeting tomorrow, and I'm staying vague still, sort of has to do with how the podcast will come to an end and what will take its place. I'm very excited. I think hopefully if you've enjoyed the podcast, you'll be very excited. If this thing happens, it sort of has given me a whole new look on like what the podcast was for and that kind of thing. And that sort of leads me into something I've been thinking about the nature of stress and worry and problems. So quick as we can, let's go. I like football a lot. The game of football. I watch as many games as I can. I have a team. I root for the Packers and that kind of thing. But I also just like football. So I watch whatever's on, you know. I also listen to a couple sports talk shows and that kind of thing. And a popular pastime for those people is to wonder what's going to happen and to assert that they are positive, that they know what's going to happen, and that kind of thing. And what makes me laugh, and I may have mentioned this earlier, is let's say, Aaron Rodgers is maybe going to go somewhere else. You get all these videos and articles that say, yeah, Aaron Rodgers is definitely, he's going to the Broncos for sure. I know for a fact. I talked to someone who knows someone, and I would stake my whole reputation. He's going to the Broncos for sure. Fine, whatever. Then he does not go to the Broncos, or whoever doesn't do whatever whoever said they were positive they were going to do. Where it gets funny, though, is the YouTube algorithm is not advanced enough, thank goodness, to go, oh, this video is irrelevant now. I'm going to stop recommending it to people. The YouTube algorithm just goes, hey, you like football, right? Here's a video, people talking about football. But it's 2 weeks since so-and-so signed his contract, and I'm being recommended a video titled, so-and-so under no circumstances will sign that contract. And it makes me laugh. And I relate it to my own life in the following way. We moved over the summer. We lived in a duplex, in an apartment for about 17 years, which is a long time. We could have a longer conversation about it someday, but the idea of home was not one I had really grown up with, and I liked it there, and I decided I would stay there forever. And I have a lot of really good memories there, and it was great. We outgrew it, married, kid, records, guitars. We outgrew the place. And we bought a house that I'm in now, and it is great, but it was stressful as hell, man. And there were times I just thought, like, there's no way. I can't do this. The bank would ask for this stack of paperwork. You'd be amazed how much work you got to do just to borrow a couple $100,000. Like, dude, I'm good for it, okay? Settle down. But they want all this paperwork and proof of whatever and that kind of thing. And when I was in it, I could have made a YouTube video that says there's no way we're ever going to be able to buy a house, and there's no way we'll ever be able to pack up all these records and guitars and memories and things and people and move them to a new house. But now here I am. Here we are. We love it here, and it feels like we're at home in a very real way and in a kind of new way because we have ownership of it and that kind of thing. Now, the next step after identifying for myself that like you stress out about these things, you worry about these things, uh, and then you can look in the past and go, oh, I beat that problem. I figured that out. I solved that and I'm here now. And all that worry was for nothing, you know. So and so plays for this team now, and all those YouTube videos were pointless, basically. And we spent hours making them and watching them and talking about them, and money was made because of them, and it was for nothing. So, knowing that, I'm trying to look at my life and go, what are the things right now that I'm making panicky, the sky is falling YouTube videos about, metaphorically, of course, that in the future I'll look back on those videos and go, well, that was dumb. What a giant waste of my time. You know, Mark Twain and Tom Petty both, and I don't know if Petty was influenced by Mark Twain. He probably was because Petty is awesome. They both had lyrics or quotes about, you know, I spend a shocking amount of my time worrying about things that never happen. And maybe that's just the nature of worry itself, that like I'd be curious to look back on a life and go, make a long list, an exhaustive list of everything you worried about. And then, you know, highlight the ones that actually happened or cross out the ones that didn't. And how short does that list get? It must. The older I get, the more I think like a lot of those things get crossed off. So when I'm confronted by stress, I try to remind myself that all the worry about this situation is A, not going to help me navigate through it, and B, almost 100% in the rear view will look pointless and, you know, embarrassing or silly or what have you. Finally, I'm very happy to say that one of the wonderful things that has introduced a new element of not really stress, but just like, hey, we're doing this, into our house is we fostered a dog. We're fostering to adopt. If it goes well, and it's going very, very well, he'll be our dog. And he's going to stay here forever, and we're very excited. He's got shaggy brown hair, and he is from Texas, so naturally we named him Towns. And the story, as we understand it, is he may have been a stray in Texas, and he was taken into a shelter that is very, very full, and unfortunately is not a no-kill shelter. So he was transferred to Oshkosh. And I found myself at the Oshkosh Area Humane Association. I think that's what it is. Oshkosh Area Humane Society. I was there. And I met a different dog that we were thinking we might want to adopt. And it wasn't a very good fit. Unfortunately, like heartbreakingly, I clearly reminded this dog of someone else who was not very nice to him. Side note, don't be mean to dogs. What's wrong? Like, ugh. If you're thinking about being mean to a dog, how about instead you just walk into the sea? We'll be fine without you. Oh, that was dark for the podcast. Anyways, we all decided, me and the two women working at the shelter knew immediately, like, this is going to work. And that's unfortunate. And they said, well, we have this other dog that's been here for 5 months. And I think the thing about it is that this dog, Towns, is he's 2 years old, so he's not a puppy, and a lot of people want a puppy. And he's not like an eye-catching breed. He's not a pit. He's not a bulldog. He's not a chihuahua. He's not a Frenchie. He's not whatever. He's not a pug. What we think he is an Australian cattle dog. He basically looks like the kind of dog you would see, you know, running around in a Western, and all the better. You know what I mean? I'll put some pictures, but he's like a medium-sized. That's the other thing. He's too small if you want a big dog. He's too big if you want a small dog. And I'm looking at this guy with his shaggy brown hair and his unknown history that nobody seems to want to love. And I'm going, get in the car. You're coming with me. So the next day we came back, me, Tori, and Ollie, and we met him, and it went pretty good. He was still, he's kind of nervous. He's been in the shelter for 5 months. But I tell you what, he perked right up when he got in the car, and he came home with us on Friday, and it's Monday now, and it's going great. Going for lots of walks, and he's acquainting himself with the house, and hasn't exhibited like any of the behaviors that they were talking about at the shelter that they were a little worried about. He really does seem like one of these dogs that, like, we just got to get him out of here, and he'll be fine. And thus far, it really does seem that way, and we're really happy. And he'll probably be the subject of a longer podcast that will roughly be about sort of getting over your pain or sadness by replacing it with something else, which I do think is an occasionally valid approach. In the meantime, things are going good here. Oliver had his play. He was prop master in a play. I think I talked about it. I might not have, though, because a couple of people that watched the podcast didn't know he was in a play, and I might have screwed that up. But we went and saw that on Sunday. He did great. He built a sand timer, like an hourglass, that worked and everything. It was very cool. Let's talk recommendations. And coming in hot with recommendations. First of all, this movie is called St. Vincent, and it stars Bill Murray, which is the first reason I was in a bit of a tizzy when I learned the reviews for this movie were quite bad. A bunch of nobodies on YouTube drinking gas station coffee out of a styrofoam cup and making up words like mockish were dumping all over this movie. And I was like, hey, that's Bill Murray. So either put some respect on his name or get his name out of your mouth. It's Bill Murray. So I just went out and I got this movie and I watched it with Tori, and it made me laugh and it made me cry a couple times. It's wonderful. You see this movie and you don't listen to crabby assholes who don't know how to feel joy. That's what I think about that, your dumb review. How about that? All these people, they're just like, oh, you've seen it before. It's a grumpy old guy and a kid. And it's like, so see it again. What's the problem? I have happily seen every Marvel movie several times. And I could explain to you how they're all different, but I could also explain to you why you're right when you go like, oh, they're all kind of the same. They follow this beat and that beat and this beat and that beat and this beat and that beat, and there we go. Same with the crime procedurals, the whodunits, the rom-coms. There's like 4 ways to make a movie, okay? And my thing is, if it makes people feel good, what's the problem? And it's really, really good. I liked it a lot. It warmed my cold, dead blood machine. So you go see St. Vincent and you be nice to Bill Murray. We're lucky to have him. Up next. This record is called Superstar Car Wash, and it's by the Goo Goo Dolls. Now, I know it says Goo Goo Dolls and not the Goo Goo Dolls, and for some people that's important. But on Spotify, which feels about as official as we can get these days, they're called the Goo Goo Dolls. So for my purposes now, they're called the Goo Goo Dolls. You may possibly be very familiar with the Goo Goo Dolls. They're not a small band, but you might not be familiar with this record. This record came out before their record, A Boy Named Goo, which had their first hit radio song called Name. That record's very good. And then they followed it up with a record called Dizzy Up the Girl, which had many, many hit singles that inexplicably soccer moms really gravitated to, even though, of the 3 big songs off that record, one was about teenage kids getting pregnant and trying to figure out if they should get an abortion or not, and the other one was about heroin. Slide and Black Balloon. Look into it. It's true. And then they followed that up with a record called Gutter Flower that's also very good. And then, after that, maybe I stopped paying attention a little bit. But everything Gutter Flower and earlier, including this record and Jed and Hold Me Up, are fantastic. They were a more kind of replacement-y, kind of pop punk band. Not a pop punk band. They're a pop band and a punk band. And it's a little bit riffy, but a little bit jangly. It's really, really good. You should check it out. And it's got Fallen Down on it, which is awesome. It's got Girl Right Next to Me, which is awesome. It's got Weirder Than Normal, which was co-written by Paul Westerberg from The Replacements. Did you know that? I don't know. Check out Superstar Car Wash by the Goo Goo Dolls. And finally, I found myself in a bit of a funk this weekend. And one of the things that helped me get out of it, besides time with my lady and my son's play, was this band. This band is called The Bouncing Souls. This record is called The Gold Record. They are from New Jersey, and they are one of the most important bands ever. And that's saying a lot, even in New Jersey. There's a lot of important stuff coming out of New Jersey. And Bon Jovi. I'll tell you this, though. Bon Jovi matters to me a little bit because You Give a Bad Name is undeniable. And that other one, Tommy used to work on the docks, halfway there, Living on a Prayer. I wanted to say Don't Stop Believing. Living on a Prayer, undeniable. And plus also, he had a song on the Young Guns soundtrack. And Young Guns is like high up there. Very important movie to me. Anyways, Bouncing Souls are a punk band, but they're very melodic. And as they're entering the next phase of their career, they're slowing down a little bit in a way that I find very satisfying. Listen to the Gold song. Hey, look at that. Listen to Sounds of the City. Definitely listen to Lean On Sheena, which is a powerful, touching, heartbreaking fist pumper of a song. It's a cover, but still, it's one of those covers like when Johnny Cash does a Nine Inch Nails song, and even Trent Reznor is like, well, I guess it's a Johnny Cash song now, because dang. So I know you might not like punk rock, but if you do, listen to Bouncing Souls. You probably already do. And if you don't, listen to the Bouncing Souls anyways. You might learn something. I have a Bouncing Souls tattoo. It's a multi-purpose tattoo that, honest to God, I got thinking about the Bouncing Souls and the Monkees. So, see, look. Believer. Yeah, that's the Bouncing Souls. And the Monkees. And a subtle tribute to my wife. Figure it out. My coffee's cold. My wonderful dog might need to go out. And I have to go pick up my son, who I love very much. So that's going to be the end of it. I hope you guys are doing well. I have shows. Check the website. I have music. It's on the internet where people don't really pay attention to music that much. It's a great place to keep it. And and life is good. It's hard sometimes. It's confusing sometimes. Scary sometimes. Stressful sometimes. Sad sometimes. But it's good. That's one of the reasons I love that movie St. Vincent so much, because it's all those things, you know? In order for us to really know the sweetness of life, we have to know all the parts of life. I have a friend who's going through a bit of a hard time right now, but he and I have been talking about everything he's learning through this hard time and the opportunities he's getting because of this hard time to be the kind of person he wants to be. And I get that, you know? There's something about, you know, just boldly entering something difficult and realizing that you're handling it and you're pulling it off and you're being of service to other people, and, you know, let life be everything that it is, but recognize that, you know, all that stuff is held in something good. I'm just rambling. But I hope you like it. I like you. Thanks for being here. Hopefully I'll see you at a show sometime. In the meantime, take care of yourself. Take care of somebody else. Go meet a foster dog. There's a lot of them. They need some love. Don't get a puppy. Don't get a whatever. Just go find a medium-sized shaggy dog with half a tail from parts unknown and give him some love. All right? We'll talk soon. Bye.